There is this nice metaphor of the hunter and the farmer in continuous improvement. And it really helps to understand the different streams and how people approach it. So let's talk a bit about it, because it will help you understand how you can grow continuous improvement in your organization. Hello, I'm Tom. Welcome to my channel, where we talk about continuous improvement in an industrial setting. And today's video is about this concept of the hunter and the farmer, which is sort of two philosophies to improving your performance. And sometimes people say it is a bit ingrained, also the Western world, mostly hunters, the Eastern world, mostly farmers. Not too sure about that, but there is a definite difference between people's preferences, so individual people in organizations, and as to how they approach improving your performance and getting the best results and getting the best out of your people and your equipment. Now, this concept is indeed then sort of transcribed as a metaphor into, you have people who behave more like a hunter, so they are really goal focused, like a hunter also goes out and just checks where are some animals. They will also move around until they find a place where they can find the animals that they are going to hunt. When they see it, they really start to focus. They become quiet, they focus, they make sure they get a good shot, shoot, get their prey, and they have their meat, they have their food on the table, take it home. And tomorrow, basically the same thing again. Whereas your farmers, they go with a different strategy. So a farmer is someone who really plans ahead and who tills the soil, puts in the seed grain, then on that same place, so no moving around to the place where most of the grain will be or something like that. No, on your own plan, your own plotted piece of land, you will water it, you will keep it, you will improve it, you will water it again, and whatever. I mean, right now what our farmers are doing is highly technological, but the basic idea is you take care to grow that piece of land that you also used where you put the seed, and you will just put all your effort into the idea of this will yield a good result. And then after half a year or so, you will get a nice result. Before that time, you do not get anything. But as we also know from history, the farmers did supplant the hunters. In the end, in fact, the farming strategy is more effective than the hunting strategy. Definitely in real life, what we see now is, well, our food comes from farmers, our food doesn't come from hunters. That is the occasional nice bit of meat that you have on the side, but not our main food supply. So in the real world, this approach is the best, so to say. Although, if I'm hungry today, tilling a field is not going to make me happy. Because with this approach, I will have to wait a long time before I get my food. With this approach, I will probably have my food before the end of the day. So there are also very clear benefits to this hunter approach. Hunters get a direct result. They have direct something that they can show, that they can use to, well, keep themselves alive, or of course in this whole metaphor, the hunters make sure that they keep the company alive. Now, how should we translate this metaphor to business? The hunters are those that go and check where are the biggest problems in my factory. I mean, this same thing is also used a lot in sales, for different ways of approaching your sales clients. But for continuous improvement in industry, what this channel is all about, you are hunting the biggest problems and the biggest opportunities in your factory, then making sure that you get really focused on them, get the right equipment. So in this case, that means you get the experts on that field. If you, for instance, see that you are wasting a lot of your materials, and that is the biggest cost drain on your system, then you get some technologists, some product and process technologists involved, and you make sure that you get a team together that can handle this type of problem. A hunter will take a different tool for hunting ducks as they will take for hunting elephants. And the same goes for our company hunter, our factory hunter. Those loss hunters will first check where are the biggest problems. They have no problem with the idea that, well, maybe at this moment It will not be a material waste problem. We now have a bigger problem with our equipment breaking down and not being reliable. So let's get some technical people and make sure we fix this problem and get our performance back up to standards, or even really higher than the previous standards. We just take the biggest part we can find every time, improve it, and then continue. Now the disadvantage a bit is that you will usually see, especially with this type of person, so this can be mitigated by adding some other type of person, some other mindset people to the team, but the hunter type of person will usually not spend too much time on really fixing the solution to the problem longer term. So really sustaining the changes, embedding the solutions in the day-to-day operation, because that is basically never the most priority, most critical thing to do. As soon as you plug the hole and it sort of is working great again, that hunter will see something in the corner of their eyes. Oh, now we have a material problem, and we go there and we fix that. We plug that hole, and probably by the time they plug that hole, our first thing with the breakdowns, well, sort of leaping again, and we've got a couple more breakdowns, maybe slightly different. So they will be constantly chasing, they will be hunting losses, and those losses will probably be popping up again. Now, the farmer approach to continuous improvement in a factory is to build the capability of your people, build the structure, the organization, and make sure that you have a good foundation and that you get better and better and more stable over time. We've been talking also in a previous video about performance and capabilities. The hunters will really focus on performance more than capabilities. Farmers, they have the tendency to focus a bit too much on capabilities. So what you will see, if we take a couple of continuous improvement, lean type of examples, focused improvement teams in general, they really fit this hunter mentality. Also, if we take the TPM pillars of focused improvement or quality management, they are mostly in the hunting, although quality management, of course, will lean a bit more to farming. Autonomous maintenance, autonomous management is really squarely over there, as is, for instance, training and education, really a building the structures of your organization type of group of pillar. As I said, the farmers in real life, they sort of won out. They are much more effective per person than the hunters in real life, because they can continue to improve their systems, they can continue to grow and make sure that next year's plan really builds on last year's plan. So here with a hunter, today's skills and today's mistakes, they become training to improve tomorrow's skills. But with a structured approach like farming, this effect is so much stronger. This compounding effect of continuous improvement is very strong. But just as the real life farmer, if you have a factory that's just bleeding cash and it's got a pretty bleak future, then you will not have the time to put these systems into place. I mean, you can start autonomous management on a factory that might be closing within a year. You will not even have a decent autonomous management foundation within a year. So it will not help you. It will drain even more resources. In the long run, though, it will be the stronger approach. Also because we need something to really embed those hunted changes into. So the farmer approach and the person that fits with a farmer approach are those that want to improve procedures, stabilize processes, train people, make sure that the basic conditions are nicely maintained, but also that there is a good working environment and also a nice workplace, so organized, easy, ergonomic for everyone, and to take these kinds of steps to slowly build out the system in the very strong conviction that when you fix the health and happiness at work of your processes, so foremost of your people, but then also make sure that your machines are healthy, so in a normal state, that you have a stable supply of materials of the same quality, then this will boost your productivity. You first fix the standard that you have, and as soon as it's fixed, you can start improving incrementally. And those two mentalities, they sort of clash a bit. That is why we launch multiple pillars, but also we need a management team, a steering committee, or a lean group, or whatever you want to call it, but the management committee to push both sides of this. And that also means that you need to pay attention to, in your management team, but also in your compensation packages, have a couple of loss hunting and real direct performance improvement KPIs, merits, and people who think like hunters, but also have a number of people who think like farmers, and a number of capability, merits, structure building, targets and goals. And you can put KPIs on farming, right? You can put KPIs on things like how many people were successfully trained and really got the competencies, or how many repetitions of a solved problem did we see, which of course should be zero, but usually isn't zero, especially not at the start. So stuff like that can also really be KPI'd to sort of get the hunters on board. And for the hunting, to get the farmers on board, really clearly show them what is happening, what is going on. Now, if you talk a bit about the pillars of TPM, and I like to get them in. I made a couple of videos about them before, but you can also easily look them up. You will see that they span this spectrum a bit. So each of the pillars has aspects of hunting and farming in it, always. But focused improvement is really strongly a hunting pillar. It has limited farming things in it. As I said, well, training and education, AM as well, progressive quality or quality management, preventive maintenance, bit in the middle. When we go to the lean pillar, safety is also usually more on the systems. It depends a little bit, but the safety pillar, usually more on that side. So you sort of see the pillars with the strong KPI focus, and the pillars with the strong system competencies, system focus. And this is one of the reasons why when you are implementing a TPM strategy, make sure you pick the pillars that your company needs first, to launch first, but they should all be launched relatively quickly, one after another. That is, within, I would say, 1.5 years or so, try to get most of them launched. And especially launch, let's say, focused improvement and AM and PM and training and education, so that you have a mix within the first year. And those quality, safety pillars, depending a bit on your company's priorities, but maybe you can launch them slightly later, but mix them. So really make sure that this is mixed. And management should be on all of them. So did I just, right. I also have to continuously improve even my own flip chart. Make sure that you get this together, that you balance these things within the way that you lead your continuous improvement activities at a factory. For that, it is, I think, a really good tool, a really good metaphor to have this hunter-farmer metaphor, to basically have it in the vocabulary of your management team, of your continuous improvement team, and discuss it from time to time. This, I mean, I haven't really taught you so much, definitely not a lot of new stuff in this video, I think, but this type of language will, I think, help you to have a discussion about the culture in your organization, and you can use this language to say, are we perhaps now hunting too much? Should we be farming our systems, our structure a bit more, or the other way around, or use this language to have a balanced way of planning out your improvement initiatives and your resources over the next year. So I hope that this gave you, a bit of an insight, a bit of a nice way of thinking and discussing it with your colleagues. I also wish you the best of luck discussing this with your colleagues, and please do let me know how that went for you. And is this like an eye-opener or a sort of language that you would use and that you can make good use of in your organization? Drop me a comment. Now, for now, I wish you the best of luck hunting and farming, but most of all, enjoying the continuous improvement journey.